Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. Is Ridge able to fire Brooke? Forrester loyalty tested by Taylor's ultimatum. Ridge Forrester is caught between his difficult past with Brooke at Forrester Creations and his loyalty to Taylor. To please Taylor, would he go too far and dismiss his ex-wife? Will Ridge make the impossible decision to fire Brooke in order to keep Taylor happy? The lines of battle have been set, and it's personal this time. According to reports, Taylor Hayes is nearing her breaking point because of Brooke Logan's persistent presence at Forrester Creations and her overt attempts to woo Ridge Forrester back. But is it really possible that Taylor will force Ridge to fire his ex-wife? And more significantly, would he do it? Riding in an impossible position is made possible by Taylor's ultimate. Let's be honest, Taylor has had enough of Brooke's pranks. Not only is she fed up with Brooke's efforts to rehire Hope at Forrester, but she is also enraged by the lingerie model's blatant attempts to woo Ridge in front of her. Ridge made his commitment apparent earlier this year when he chose Taylor over Brooke. Despite this, Brooke continues to insist that they always come back to each other and declare that Ridge is the only man in my life. And Taylor's anger was understandable. When Taylor entered and discovered Brooke modeling lingerie at Forrester Creations, it was the tipping point. Talk about improper conduct at work. Taylor didn't believe Brooke's assertion that it was for work purposes, most likely for her Brooke's bedroom brand. The entire event smacked of a last-ditch effort to get Ridge back into her web. Why Ridge may astonish everyone by refusing. Things start to get very interesting at this point. Taylor may be shocked to learn that there is a limit that even Ridge won't cross for her if she does insist that Ridge fire Brooke. Ridge has made it very evident that he picked Taylor, yet occasionally his lingering looks give the impression that he may be regretting his decision. If the man is not conflicted, he is nothing. Not to mention that Brooke's accomplishments at Forrester Creations have been much too significant to be written off due to personal drama. Nor does Ridge have a reputation for being a good follower. This is an opinionated, passionate man who hates being told what to do or that he is mistaken. We've all witnessed his obstinate defense of his beliefs, particularly in relation to family businesses. Eric Forrester, the best roadblock ever. One person would probably put an end to this right now. Even if Ridge wanted to give in to Taylor's demands, Eric Forrester would never permit Ridge to fire Brooke for something so private. Brooke has always had a special place in the heart of the Forrester patriarch, who knows her importance to the business better than anyone else. In addition, whether Taylor likes it or not, Brooke and Ridge are forever linked because they have a kid named RJ. The already uneasy family dynamic would be made even worse by firing his child's mother. Everything could change with the fallout. The consequences could be disastrous if Taylor does give this order. Ridge's denial might force him back into Brooke's waiting arms and cause significant strain in his relationship with Taylor. Conversely, he would be alienating not only Brooke but also possibly Eric and other Forrester family members if he actually carried out the termination of Brooke, which seems quite unlikely. In any case, Taylor could suffer a terrible outcome from this power play. If Ridge pushes himself too hard, he might be reminded of why he has consistently returned to Brooke throughout the years. The crucial query still stands: to what far will Taylor go in order to remove Brooke from Ridge's life? And will she end up losing everything because she is desperate to be the one woman in his heart? Is she bringing Nick Marone back from Ridge to distract him? Taylor Hayes may be taking her feud with Brooke Logan to a new level of cunning, and the talons are sticking out. Although BNB fans are aware that Taylor Hayes, played by Rebecca Budig, has taken back her role in the life of Ridge Forrester, played by Torsten K., this does not imply that she is taking it easy. Taylor seems to have a bright idea to keep her competitor continuously distracted, by bringing back one of Brooke Logan's old flames. Brooke Logan, played by Catherine Kelly Lang, is always lurking in the background, determined to restore her destiny with Ridge. Brooking Taylor's tactical advice. Taylor wasn't exactly tactful when she implied that Brooke should think about dating someone else if she was serious about dating during their heated argument at Forrester Creations on April 14. The seed was sown, even though Brooke quickly retorted that Ridge is the only man she wants. Taylor's offer was the first step in what seems to be a well-thought-out plan, not just idle talk. During their fight, Brooke asserted, "Ridge is my destiny." However, Taylor's body language revealed a different story. Underneath her self-assured facade, her uneasiness and jealousy regarding Brooke's unbreakable bond with Ridge were painfully apparent. Taylor's secret weapon, insert Nick Marone? Things start to get very interesting at this point. The timing of Jack Wagner's public comeback as Nick Marone on June 13 seems extremely suspect. Could his comeback be orchestrated by Taylor? It's important to remember that Nick has a complex past with both women. Before she unavoidably moved back to Ridge, shocking, he was married to Brooke from 2006 to 2007. He was the ideal pawn in Taylor's chess game after that, as he married her in 2007 and 2008. What makes Nick the ideal distraction? Why does Nick make Brooke such ideal bait? Before Ridge's inevitable draw overcame them, their romance was deep and passionate. Taylor may be counting on those old passions to rekindle because he is well aware of this past. Taylor would have little trouble putting this strategy into action. She would only have to get in touch with Nick, let him know that she was worried about Brooke's emotional health after the separation, and ask him to return to town to support her. Pretending to have no hidden agenda, she might even organize a spectacular event that would require his return. The signs of Taylor's desperation. Although Taylor has made a concerted effort to appear confident in her relationship with Ridge, her behavior betrays a lack of confidence. She may be bringing in an ex-lover to divert Brooke's attention, which demonstrates how seriously threatened she is. Taylor tries to seem safe and above the situation, but her jealousy is simmering beneath the surface. She fears that history may repeat itself because she is the one who understands the Ridge-Brooke link has endured decades of hardship. Once more. Upon Nick's arrival, what transpires? According to upcoming previews, after Nick returns, Brooke will get some shocking news. Will she be able to see through Taylor's plan right away? Or will her ex-husband's homecoming truly move her?
What if this idea has a disastrous backlash? That is the true question. Instead, Ridge might become envious of Nick's homecoming and end up returning to Brooke. Instead, what if Nick discovers he still feels something for Taylor? There are countless opportunities for drama. There is little doubt that the delicate equilibrium between Taylor, Ridge, and Brooke will be totally upset when Nick Marone comes to Los Angeles on June 13. And if Taylor is really responsible for his comeback, she had better be ready for every possible outcome of her deceit. Fans can't help but notice that Ridge is giving off a lot of ick vibes. Viewers have been captivated by Ridge Forrester's smoldering appearance, powerful presence, and distinctive blend of charm and arrogance throughout several power battles and love triangles on The Bold and the Beautiful for decades. However, recently, something has changed. It's that visceral, skin-crawling sense when a character's behavior shifts from confident to cringeworthy, and the once irresistible fashion mogul is giving off real ick. Ridge's charm is eroding more quickly than a Forrester creation sample sale, whether it's because of his bulldozer parenting style, his hypocritical treatment of Brooke, or the way he's becoming a less likable replica of his father, Eric. Fans are revolted, not just observing. The Brooke whiplash, shoulder heat and cold. First, let's address the most obvious problem, Ridge's abuse of Brooke, which included whiplash. He declares her his destiny one moment, then ices her out on a perceived insult or a decades-old grudge the next. His hypocrisy is astounding. He will pardon himself for lying, cheating, and leaving his family behind, yet Brooke is the public enemy number one if she even comes in contact with another man. Do you recall how he left her at the altar due to Sheila's deception and then accused Brooke of not standing up for him? Or when he abandoned her while she was struggling with alcoholism, only to return when she was at her most vulnerable? It's emotional whiplash, not enthusiasm, and it wears you out. Even worse, his romantic large gestures now seem more like control than love. That trademark gesture in which he whispers, "You're mine," while cupping Brooke's face? Unwinding in 2024. This is ownership, not devotion. Fans are also tired of it. The toxic dad feelings. Ridge's parenting, or lack thereof, comes next. This is a man who, when it suits him, behaves like Father of the Year despite having missed over 90% of his children's developmental milestones, see, RJ's whole childhood. His behavior of Thomas has been particularly startling. He has no middle ground and alternates between supporting Thomas's worst tendencies, recall the time of hope obsession, and completely rejecting him. He is hardly ever there for Steffi unless she is in danger, and he has a transactional connection with Hope, i.e., don't upset Brooke. However, nothing compares to his recent actions with Douglas. It's manipulative, disgusting, and a long cry from the loving father Ridge claims to be. Rather than shielding his grandson from the consequences of Thomas and Hope's mess, Ridge has used the child as a pawn, guilt-tripping Hope into playing house with Thomas because family stays together. The issue with Eric 2.0. The most terrible twist, perhaps? Ridge is turning into everything about his father that he used to despise. Ridge is preaching everyone about devotion while hopping between marriages, putting work before family, and expecting mindless obedience. Eric was condemned for being emotionally cold and self-righteous. Nobody is fooled by those leather vests, Ridge, and even his sense of style is outdated. What's the difference? Eric was serious. Ridge is simply entitled. The last straw, that unsettling grin. Let's discuss the sneer. Ridge's self-satisfied, I know better than you demeanor has gone from endearing to annoying. The conceit is evident whether he is disparaging Brooke's decisions, ignoring Steffi's worries, or pretending to be the savior of Forrester creations after years of unreliable leadership. That, along with his propensity to invade people's personal space, why does he always tower over them, is sure to make anyone cringe. Is Ridge redeemable? It's not impossible. He might choose a humility arc in which he admits his shortcomings, repents, and ceases to treat women like awards. But in the interim? There is too much of an ick factor. Supporters are pleading for a plot point in which someone confronts him, looking at you, Carter, or, even better, in which Brooke eventually leaves for good. Because Ridge Forrester isn't a hero at the moment. In a high-end suit, he is a walking red flag. Conclusion, we no longer have the Ridge Forrester we fell in love with. All that's left is an emotionally naive, hypocritical man who is relying on nostalgia. And the audience? They're finished. Taylor Hayes is at her breaking point, and the walls are closing in on her. Taylor is ready to fight fire with fire after years of witnessing Ridge Forrester yo-yo between her and Brooke Logan. She is tired of being the understanding, patient ex-wife. But this time, she's not pleading with Ridge to pick her or going straight after Brooke. Instead, she's following Brooke's lead and bringing in extra help in the form of Nick Marone, Brooke's ex-husband and the one man who truly knows how to get under her skin. This is a strategic SOS, a last-ditch attempt to weaken Brooke's grasp on Ridge before it's too late, not just a friendly reunion of old acquaintances. Taylor's scheme? To persuade Nick to re-enter the picture as a diversion by reminding him of the harm Brooke has done to his life, the betrayal of trust, the emotional trauma, the way she always returns to Ridge. Maybe, just maybe, Ridge will finally recognize Taylor as the dependable, devoted spouse he's been taking for granted if Brooke is preoccupied with avoiding Nick's abrupt return. The hitch is that Nick doesn't want to be exploited and isn't a pawn. As soon as Taylor arrives at his door with shaking hands and a prepared speech about doing what's best for everyone, he recognizes her for what she is. Let me guess, he adds, smirking knowingly as he reclines in his chair. Taylor's facade breaks as she says, this isn't about Ridge's happiness, it's about yours. She thought Nick would use the opportunity to rekindle their romance with Brooke, but instead he's pointing out her desperate situation. At that point, Taylor makes the shocking revelation. She's advocating something much more radical than simply urging Nick to flirt with Brooke. A phony reconciliation. An emotional charade. Ridge would have to permanently leave Brooke because of something so explosive. Nick's grin disappears. That's not you, Taylor. You're talking about manipulating lives. Taylor responds, her voice trembling, Brooke's been doing it for decades. Why shouldn't I play the game too? Now, the question is, will Nick support Taylor's plan? He dislikes Brooke's revolving door marriage to Ridge, but he also kind of wants to watch her struggle. However, becoming involved would mean returning to the toxic Forrester-Logan conflict, which he has fought so hard to avoid. Brooke, meantime, is blissfully ignorant of the impending storm. Believing that their love will last this time, she is too busy celebrating another fresh start with Ridge. However, Brooke will lose more than just Ridge if Taylor's plot succeeds. She will also lose her family's trust, her reputation, and perhaps even Nick's respect. What about Ridge? In this bizarre game, he is both the wild card and the reward. It might backfire dramatically and push him right back into Brooke's arms if he finds out about Taylor's deception. But what if he is duped? It's possible that Taylor will finally have the happy ending she's been seeking for years. What's at stake? Greater than before. The consequences? Unavoidable. Because there are only casualties in the world of the bold and the beautiful, not a harmless plot. Will Nick support Taylor's plan, or will he let Brooke see how desperate she is? Will Ridge ever be able to forgive Taylor for going too far if he finds out? When Brooke Logan rushed in, her normally perfect calm crumbling under the weight of rage, the tension in the CEO's office at Forrester Creations was thick enough to choke on. She had just discovered Taylor's most recent plot, which was so blatant and desperate that even Brooke, who is accustomed to romantic warfare, was taken aback. This time, Taylor wasn't merely attempting to win Ridge back. Her goal was to completely remove Brooke from the picture. Subtle tactics had begun when Taylor abruptly offered to take over Ridge's job, insisted on strategy discussions at night, and accidentally cancelled Brooke's appointments with him. A private email exchange between Taylor and Eric, however, detailing how to legally modify Ridge's contract to compel him to remain at Forrester Creations and away from Brooke's influence, was the incriminating evidence. It was obvious that Taylor intended to use the business as leverage to link Ridge to his family's history so strongly that he would be forced to put Forrester before his marriage. It was inevitable that Brooke would confront him. She slammed a printed copy of the emails onto Taylor's desk and accused him of blackmailing him with his own name. Taylor remained unflinching. "I'm protecting him," she calmly retorted. The anger in her voice was fresh. This was not the patient, submissive Taylor of the past. "From you. From this endless cycle where you drag him away until you get bored or betrayed, then come crawling back." This woman had made the decision to fight dirty at last. Brooke, however, was not about to back down. She retorted, "You think tying him to a desk will make him love you?" The irony that Brooke, of all people, was preaching about healthy relationships didn't escape either of them. Ridge doesn't want a jailer, Taylor. He wants a partner. Nevertheless, two ladies who had been circling the same man for decades were still doing the same things. Ridge's intervention in the middle of the fight raised the stakes dramatically. Brooke's face stiffened as Taylor's paled. Brooke pushed her, "Ask her what she's been planning." Ridge refrained from immediately defending Taylor for once. As he perused the papers, his quiet was deafening as he realized that his choices and freedom were being bargained behind his back. Taylor had overplayed her hand out of desperation. She may have simply ensured Ridge's permanent departure by attempting to persuade him to stay. The consequences? Nothing makes Ridge angry more quickly than feeling in control. It's possible that Taylor's actions permanently damaged his trust. Brooke's victory lap, she will use this as leverage to portray Taylor as insane, but will Ridge be able to spot her deceit? Eric's betrayal, there are concerns about his involvement. Was keeping Ridge at FC his idea? The empire of the family may fall apart. There's no denying that Taylor went too far. And there are only casualties in this battle, not clean hands. Which is worse, Taylor's initial plotting or Brooke's exposure of her? From here, whither does Ridge go? In a desperate attempt to manipulate Daphne over Carter, Brooke humiliates herself. Despite having absolutely no authority, Brooke Logan degrades herself by threatening to fire Daphne Rose over Carter Walton. Brooke's furious outburst is totally useless because Hope is already seeing Liam. Astonishingly, Brooke's power play against Daphne backfires. This week on Bold and Beautiful, Brooke Logan has completely lost the plot. Her disastrous error demonstrates how desperate and delusional she has become. The Logan matriarch had what may be her most uncomfortable moment to date as she goes on a rant after hearing Daphne Rose disparage Hope Logan to Carter Walton. Her daughter doesn't even want the man that makes Mama Bear go crazy. One thing should be clear, Brooke Logan is engaged in a non-existent conflict. Hope Logan has moved on entirely, even though she is occupied with protecting Carter Walton as though he were a valuable possession her daughter longs for. What a case of being totally disconnected from reality. The Logan matriarch made it her personal goal to protect Carter from Daphne's approaches after he told Brooke that Hope was his one and only and that he would stop at nothing to win her back. The worst part is that no one asked her to. Hope has made it very apparent that she no longer wants to be involved with Carter, who is a fully grown man who is free to choose who he wants to pursue. Her helpless state is shown by Brooke's empty threats. She goes nuclear, threatening Daphne's career at Forrester Creations if she doesn't distance herself from Carter, in true Brooke fashion. The only little issue with that is that Brooke no longer holds any authority within the organization. It seems that she is still living in that fantasy world, even though her brief time as CEO is long gone. When everyone understands she is making threats she cannot possibly follow through on, this magnificent error is going to blow up in her face. Imagine Steffi's expression when she learns about Brooke's most recent pitiful power move. "I'm already getting my popcorn." While Brooke fights for Carter, Hope sets her sights on Liam. This is a beautifully terrible irony. Hope has been having heart-to-hearts with her father, Deacon Sharp, while Brooke is having tantrums at Forrester Creations. In fact, the ex-con provided his daughter some unexpectedly wise counsel, telling her that Liam Spencer has always supported her and that Carter has abandoned her when it mattered most. Hope is taking this seriously and is re-evaluating her feelings for Liam, who is battling for his life at the moment due to a serious head injury. Hope will be totally preoccupied with Liam after she finds out about his health, which will make Brooke's effort to shield Carter even more absurd and futile. Brooke's dignity is the new victim claimed by the Logan-Forrester war. This humiliating incident is only the most recent development in the ongoing conflict between the Forresters and Logans. After years of seeing Taylor Hayes and Steffi Forrester attack her, Brooke is now seeing Hope experience the same thing. However, she has turned to frantic power plays and hollow threats rather than addressing it with poise or real authority. Despite being the newbie to the game, Daphne Rose has obviously learned from the pros. She has the ideal ammunition to thoroughly embarrass Brooke, and she knows precisely how to set her off. What could be more embarrassing, after all, than being revealed to be totally helpless immediately after endangering someone's livelihood? When all is said and done, Brooke will appear foolish for pursuing a relationship that has already ended, while Daphne may succeed in getting what she desires, Carter getting back on track after realizing Hope has moved on permanently. There is little doubt that Brooke Logan has begun something that she will never be able to complete, and the consequences will be incredibly embarrassing.